Hey there, geeks! Adam coming at you with a massive vacation haul. Yeah, so I was traveling this weekend. I went to Sacramento, California for my buddy's wedding. And while I was out and about, waiting for the festivities, I was hitting up all the local comic shops, as well as a place called The Cave, which was this massive collectibles chain where like they just like take whatever you have that might be collectible, clothes, VHS tapes, comics, action figures, whatever. It was outstanding. I mean, it was a record shop, it was everything in one. I spent hours and hours combing through all of these collections, and let me show you what I came up with, okay? So, first one here, let's just start off big. Sensational She-Hulk #1. I don't usually pick up wall books, but I went into this one store. I was a little disappointed. They actually had some Wizard Poster Mania posters, like as part of a decoration. I got excited, but they didn't really have anything I wanted. But then I saw this on the wall, and I was like, you know what? It's a pretty good price. I'm gonna grab this, take it with me. As well as a couple other issues of She-Hulk, just random issues that I need to fill in my gaps because I have a pretty good run of Sensational She-Hulk. But there were also a bunch of other series that I was kind of chasing throughout the weekend, and if I could find them, I'm still again trying to fill in gaps. One of those was another #1, which was John Byrne's Namor series that he did in the early '90s. So I was able to grab a couple of these issues that I needed. Specifically, a lot of them involved this Iron Fist coming out. Although Iron Fist is not really Iron Fist because I had some of the other issues. Some of these you're going to hear some stickiness because I actually took the price tags off most of them and they got a little bit sticky. This is a cool one with Wolverine on it though. And as you can see, the prices weren't like dirt cheap. These weren't dollar books, but it was something where like the value that I was getting for some of the ones that I picked up versus what I was paying, $2 or $3 for something that maybe would normally be in a 50-cent bin. It kind of felt like it evened out to me. Another series I was trying to grab though was Ghost Rider 2099. Because I have almost a full run of all the 2099 books, all the main titles. Ghost Rider is one of those that was kind of under the radar, and in fact goes for quite a bit on the secondary market these days. So to find these for under $5 was actually a really good deal. So I was excited about that to grab so many of those. Something else that I really love to pick up are promotional comics, and so that is the case with this right here, which is the Action Zone. This was CBS in the '90s. As you can see, Wildcats, you have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Skeleton Warriors. All of these had action figures being produced by Playmates. And so they put together this little preview comic. It's actually very fun. But speaking of Saturday morning cartoon previews, NBC Comics or NB Comics. This was super excited to find. When you got Pro Stars, you got Yo Yogi, you got all this Wish Kid with Macaulay Culkin. This was actually a giveaway at Toys R Us stores, so that was really fun to find. How about this one? You hear that little stickiness there? Jello Man and Wobbly. Okay, this was way cooler than I thought. I didn't realize Jello Man's body was made of the JELLO letters. Along with Wobbly is the J. It's very cool. There's actually a story by Kurt Busiek inside here. Yes, Kurt Busiek wrote Jello Man and Wobbly. There's also this Marvel Comics Disney sampler from when they had the license in the early '90s. Sticking with animation, I'll share this one too. Whenever I find a Powdered Toast Man special, I gotta grab it. I wasn't a huge Ren and Stimpy fan, but always tuning in for get my fix of Powdered Toast Man when I could. Let's see, which way do we want to go here? There's so many. I'll do another one where I was trying to grab as many as I could. What I would do is I would like grab a full huge stack, and then like if I didn't find the run of issues I wanted at the end, then I would put some back. But one of those that I wanted to get was Kevin Smith's Green Arrow run. Okay, because that was a big deal. I remember it being promoted heavily in Wizards, so I was able to get the first 3 issues of that. Which is great. I don't know why Black Manta's there, but I guess I'll find out. But then I was able to get some of the later issues too, with like 11, 12, didn't get 13, but got 14 and 15. So again, I was hoping to find the Joe Quesada, Kevin Smith, Jimmy Palmiotti, Daredevils, the Marvel Knights. I came across like one. It was like issue 9 or something. I was like, okay, well I didn't get it all. Also, A big thing that actually gets the cover of Wizard eventually is Soulfire from Aspen Comics, right? So got the first two issues of that. I wasn't a huge Michael Turner fan, so I've always been curious as to what his deal was. But I was a big Resurrection Man fan, and there was a spin-off from there, the Body Doubles, who were like these female bounty hunters, that had a lot of personality. So I was able to get the first three issues of their mini-series, so I'll have to keep an eye out for issue number 4. Also, another just run of something I remember because of Resurrection Man. I bought the 1 million issue of Resurrection Man, but not any of the other books. So they had a bunch of these. There's the JLA 1 million. This one was a good deal because it was Nightwing 1 million and Batman 1 million for one price. They were boarded back to back. And then there was this one right here, which is Martian Manhunter. So I'll keep an eye out for the rest when I can. All right, this was cool. Most of the Chaos comics I found were actually super high price. So any Lady Death, any Evil Ernie. This one was affordable. The best part about this book, some of you might recognize it because you probably picked it up back in the day, but this is a gimmick cover, okay? So when you open it up, he's in a coffin. Isn't that awesome? So I just thought that was fun. There's actually a really good story in here, too. I have only a smattering of Evil Ernie. Oh, and I forgot. When I got to the end, the back cover is pretty cool, too, because you get the Evil Ernie costume that they had. But in the back, they actually have an ad for Wizard number 52, where you could win an Evil Ernie Chaos Comics contest. So I was like, hey, that belongs, in our archive for sure. It was necessary. I didn't even know. All right, here's a few more single issues. This What If Cable had destroyed the X-Men. This is one of two. I only found the first one, but I do love a good What If when I can get it. Some Quantum and Woody. You heard us talk about it on the mini episode recently, the Zero issue, and then this was from when they relaunched the title with the original creative team, which super excited to see that. I also was able to grab some movie adaptations, which I'm always on board for. So we just talked about this in our Spawn movie merchandise special. I had never read it. I read the novelization for that, but didn't have a copy of the comic. Now I do. It's not too late. Still something to check out. This was very fun. I have this movie on VHS, The Punisher. Yes, the Dolph Lundgren Punisher. As you can see here, though, he looks nothing like Dolph. So that was probably on purpose. But I actually do like that movie. Maybe not so much as a Punisher movie. It's just a fun 80s action movie. But speaking of VHS, I also picked up a copy of Alien Nation on VHS at the cave store I was at. And then I found the Alien Nation movie adaptation from DC Comics. So that was really cool. Another thing that was just being publicized in Wizard in 1997 at this time was the JLA Wildcats crossover. So I read this. I mean, it's a Grant Morrison story. It was a fun little adventure to see it together. It was interesting to see who they dropped from the rosters. Like, JLA didn't have Aquaman. And then, you had Wildcats didn't have Voodoo or Warblade, so there's just stuff like that where they were leaving off certain members of the team. Oh, there's that stickiness again. Some more just of its moment, right? The 10th was being heavily promoted in Wizard, so I decided to grab an issue of that so I could find out what it's about. Same with Awesome Comics and The Coven. It was just mentioned in issue 74, I think. I don't know, maybe it was 73. But either way, that was... Oh, no, yeah, we talked about it in 73 with Ray Stacanis, our guest there. This is another one. Captain America Theater of War. So I was listening to our friends, the Dollar Bin Bandits. They're excellent comic book interview podcast. They just got Jim Shooter, guys. They're doing great work over there. But they talked to Paul Jenkins. He cited this as like his best work because he said he's never met anybody who's read it that hasn't cried while reading it, hasn't welled up a little bit. So let's see if it has the same effect on me. Another ad I just saw in Wizard was this Michael Moorcock's Multiverse. This is from the DC Comics Helix imprint. So I saw this and I was interested in it and I read it. It's very hard sci-fi fantasy. So it's not quite for me, but it was still an interesting exploration into that world. This was just not 90s at all, but Steel Town Rockers. I had to grab this. This is just like so many 80s movies, like we're getting a band together. That was just a genre of film back in the day. It's not great. It feels like it needed like a cassette tape, or a 45 single included with it. But what is great is Generation X Gen 13. Again, this was just talked about recently in Wizard being promoted with Art Adams art and all that. The only thing I probably should have just pulled this out to look. There were two different Generation X Gen 13 crossovers. I have one of them. I don't know if this is an alternate cover for the one I have or if this is something that I did, needed. So we'll find out. But also this Danger Girl 3D, speaking of J. Scott Campbell, right? I have a bunch of 3D comics. I actually always, where did I put them just now? Oh yeah. I always have a pair of 3D glasses nearby. And so I was reading a Fright Night comic the other day. Like, it's just fun. Speaking of now comics though, in Fright Night, The Terminator, #1. Ooh, look at that. That was a good one. They actually had a bunch of that series, but I'm not too deep into Terminator. Splitting Image #1, how can I not? We mock them enough, but if they're mocking themselves, there's got to be some good jokes in there. All right, we're getting into now a run of #1s as we close this out. She #1, I just wanted to grab because I have a couple copies of the trade. Yes, the infamous 6-finger trade. So, and this one, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if that's like a special edition. It's got a lot of gold on it. I don't know if they all did. Captain America #1 for Heroes Return. We're discussing a lot of this. There's a Heroes Return special we're going to be doing as a bonus episode. But also we're talking about issue 74. There's coverage of, yes, the one and only John Romita Jr. cover, and they discuss him taking over the art chores on this Heroes Return Thor. So I wanted to be able to have an opinion because I have an opinion about John Romita Jr. This is another one that down the line, Wizard includes an Hour Man comic. They really were trying to hype this. I don't think it ever caught on, but getting that #1 issue, I just wanted to have an idea of what it was about. Major Bummer #1, which I've talked about recently on the podcast as well. Loved it, just wanted to grab it. So also, one thing I wanted to grab was Spider-Man Chapter 1. I was able to find the first and the 0 issue on that. I know it was very controversial at the time. John Byrne kind of rewriting some pieces of Spider-Man history. There's even a disclaimer on the cover. I know that was covered in Wizard, so I wanted to have a frame of reference for that. Also, Adventures in the DC Universe #1. This had just recently been reviewed in the Skinny in Wizard. Now, if you've watched these other haul videos, you know that I recently came away with like a big stack of Young Justice comics. Everything except #1. Well, I finally found #1. And so that was great. I'm very excited about that. In fact, on episode 75, we're going to be talking about the origins of Young Justice and how it was reported on originally. And finally, the one that was the most exciting for me to find, if you listen to the show, you know I love my Mike Allred, and Madman Comics #1, right? This is super Ginchi. This is a thing where I have like Madman trades, I have the Madman Gargantua, I have a lot of stuff like that. But I never really had the individual issues. I have like a handful that I picked up back in the day when I first started reading it. So to get the #1 issue was a big deal for me in my collection. So I was super excited to add that in. I did grab a bunch of other Wizard-related comics, which I will be sharing on a separate haul video along with some issues that have entered the archives. Just felt like we'd keep it on that theme. We're already at like 15 minutes here on this video. I told you, it was massive. It was such a fun adventure. That's my zen place, is just be going through back issue bins, especially ones that are not super well organized, so you never know what's coming up. Fills me with so much excitement and joy. So I was grateful for that opportunity to go out there and to have that adventure. Thank you for joining us on this video. Of course, if you're not subscribed here yet on the YouTube channel, please do so. Hey, give us a heart, give us a thumbs up, whatever you want to do. Tell us you're liking what we do. Of course, you can find us on social media at Wizards Comics on Twitter, at Wizards_Comics on Instagram. See more of what's going on over there. Of course, if you want to join our Patreon, get full scans of issues, get early release episodes uncut, you can get on over there, patreon.com/Wizards Comics. So again, thank you so much for joining me for this video, and hey, we'll check you later.